5, which is the appointment of commissioners and a panel for the tank plan change. The decision-making items from the staff. Kerry, would you like to go through them, or?
So we've already seen a very similar style paper at the last RPC meeting. The direction is relatively similar in that respect, in that we're asking for decisions on the number of commissioners, the commissioners themselves, the reserves, the delegated authority to the hearings panel to hear and issue decisions, and also delegated authority to the Chief Executive to make the necessary appointments.
Thank you for that. So based on that, can I have a discussion around the number of panel members for the...
Madam Chair, I'm happy to move that we have 5 panel members and up to 3 reserves, and I'm happy to propose some names that are based on the recommendations in front of us, if that would assist, unless anyone else wants to. Anyone else want to do it?
Go for it.
Go for it. I'll second it.
Okay, well, if the panel of 5, I'm thinking for a good mix of perspectives, including scientific and tangata whenua and experience, could well be Andrew Fenimore, Greg Ryder, Roru Kirikiri, Sheena Tapania, and Roger Marker. In terms of reserves, I would have thought, again, being able to fall back on some scientific expertise, Richard Allabone, and with the mix in mind, Antoine Coffin. And if we needed another reserve, Mark Farnsworth.
I'd like to second that.
Seconded by Henebai. Would you like to speak to your motion?
No, I just think that's it's been very helpful to have these recommendations, and the experience and the range that's going to be needed for this enormous challenge. I think it is within that field of potential commissioners.
Thank you. Henebai?
Yeah, I'd just like to highlight that, this plan change has taken so long, and the effort and the resource gone into it by our staff, by tangata whenua engagement, by stakeholder engagement. So I think this deserves the effort that we put into it, and the balance and the mix of expertise that we provide on the panel. So I think this is a great mix of commissioners. I also think the reserves are well balanced as well. And I think that this is going to be a long journey for us to go. But if we've made the right decisions in terms of who listens to our community, then I think that's as good a job we can do at this point in time. So thank you to the staff.
Thank you. Anyone want to have any discussion on the motion before we put it to a vote?
Before then, Madam, for Headatanga, yes, we've got Roger that we put up, Rowe and Coffin. So they are in there, so I've fulfilled my obligations to our team.
Thank you.
Kia ora.
Any further discussion before I put the motion? No? All those in favour of the panel being 5 and the names and the reserves? All those in favour, please raise your hand. I've got to raise mine.
Unanimous, Madam Chair.
Unanimous.
Madam Chair, can I further move that we delegate to the Chief Executive to undertake the necessary operational logistics, etc., as per item 3 of the recommendations as well?
Yes. Thank you.
Second it.
Thank you. All those in favour?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Thank you for that.
Can I issue just a word of just caution here? We don't want to make this sound like we've got a representative function going here. This is to be an independent judicial, semi-judicial entity. So it's not to be representative of, it's to be there to make independent decisions.
Excuse me, Madam Chair, sorry, did we, 2.3 in terms of delegating authority?
To the Chief Executive?
No, to the hearings panel.
Oh yes, well done.
Can I have a mover to delegate the authority of the hearings panel?
Make decisions.
Make decisions.
Make
Correct.
decisions?
That's what normally happens, isn't it?
That's what we've done with the plan change 7, so change 7, so yes, I'll move that, decision-making authority.
Mover, seconder?
I've moved it, but I'm happy to second his motion.
Yeah, thank you. All those in favour?
Aye.
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 Thank you. Well done, that's the tank. That's item number 5 done.
Oh.
Thank you very much.
Sorry. I think there's one more matter in relation to tank that we wanted to discuss, and that was the whether there would perhaps, I think we talked about as tangata whenua around having an independent planner provide advice to the independent commissioners to keep the independence complete, if you like, rather than have a staff member do that.
Oh, that's cool.
Thank you so
Well, that's not being foreshadowed.
No.
No.
Beg your pardon?
I said that's not being foreshadowed.
No, but it is something that came up. There was just something I wanted to raise.
Well, that's quite a significant decision, and if that was to be be considered, then I would have thought we could all have had some prior advice about to think about it. The other point I'd make is that the standard rule is for the staff to provide the advice because it's based on the advice that they have collected as part of the planning process, and they have expert, close, first-hand advice. The panel, if it feels it needs independent advice, is free to seek that and get it. So it's their decision, and if they want alternative advice, they're free to do that. And it would seem to me that we are therefore making a decision for the panel to be only supplied with different advice rather than what is normal. And I have a bit of an issue with that.
Yeah, I support that, Madam Chair, what Councillor Barker just said.
I think what we had on our agenda in terms of getting the recommendations from the staff done for the tank have been done, which is the appointment of the panel,
Yes.
the number of the panel, and the delegations to the various authority to make decisions and to the CEO are completed for tank. And that's what you've just raised, Tanya, is just a discussion at this point. There's no recommendations that have been put. That I think that was a recommendation that Ricky made outside of the TWR meeting.
Yes.
Is this-
Chair, is from
Yeah.
Sorry, is this something that can be raised later then, when we've got time to discuss it properly?
Yeah. I think Rick's answered that in terms of the panel have the right to seek independent advice if they so wish to.
That's right.
Yeah, and I understand that. My understanding also is that other independent commissioners, board of commissioners, have also had independent planning advice, rather than advice come from staff.
This isn't on the table.
Well,
Noted.
It's not on the agenda.
It's
No,
noted.
I understand that. I'm
Yeah.
just raising it and suggesting that I understand the need to discuss it further and properly, and raise it as an agenda item. I just wanted to raise it.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yes, please.
Okay, moving on.
Welcome.
Thank you, Janelle. That's very good.
We're on the Tukituki plan change because this is another important one we have to get through. Sorry, and we need a decision on.
Do we have a quorum?
The
So,
Tukituki
yes.
plan change,
Yeah, we do.
Tukituki plan
Yeah.
change, which is item 8.
I'm happy to stay with you and be late, but you have to be quick.
We just need to make a decision on this particular plan. And if Kerry and want to
Straightforward
talk
thing,
to
isn't
me.
it?
It is reasonably straightforward,
right.
correct.
Let's shoot.
In
It
terms
is.
of the staff recommendation, we've received the feedback, the official letter back from the Minister, confirming that the streamlined planning process isn't available to us.
Yes.
And our recommendation is that we withdraw the proposed plan change 6A, because that is no longer an option to us.
There's no other option, is there?
There is an alternative option. There is the freshwater planning process, but as we've indicated in the paper, there is a level of risk with that because we don't know
Fair enough, yeah.
what, in terms of the scope, the freshwater commissioner can consider items outside of scope, so beyond the table 5.9.1D. And also the freshwater panel is untested essentially because they've not had any decisions to make as of yet because it's a new process.
I'm happy to move recommendations 1 to 2.4.
Under 2.4, do I have a seconder for that motion?
Oh, just hold on a minute.
Still trying to catch up.
Oh, you want to see? I'll second it.
Seconded by Jareth. Shall I speak to the motion? No?
All straightforward.
Straightforward.
Okay. Any discussion on that motion?
I've probably got some more questions, but yeah, I mean, it's unfortunate for obviously the farmers where we've ended up. I think I'm against the going in a direction that might be just more cost and more delay and still ending up particularly losing control as well, because I feel we've ended up in this space a lot because we did lose control in the process way back. So I'm really keen to look at our future direction around, a much better implementation plan around nitrogen management for the catchment. The unfortunate thing is that's going to take time, and we've got what we've got, and so I guess we need to hear from staff about exactly how we deal with what we've got in the meantime around Plan Change 6 and how that's going to affect farmers in the short to medium term.
So Malcolm, perhaps around the consenting.
Yes, it leaves us with the plan as it stands. So those numbers that were put in it in about 2015 remain, and they don't quite compare with what you would derive when you calculate leaching rates per farm now. So one thing we're looking at is still updating those numbers in some way, either maybe not as completely as we were perhaps looking, but at least calibrating them in terms of the work that's been done by Horizon, so we've got a sort of a relative understanding of what those numbers would be now using the latest version of Overseer, and using that when consents come in to compare farms with that number. So the plan keeps the numbers. They would be used basically as the gateway to decide what the consent status is, also the activity status is for an application. But then we would look at the new numbers and basically use those to drive how we make the decisions per farm. And that would generally mean that if someone was exceeding by 30%, they're probably actually a lot closer to the relative number than the plan would suggest. I guess the bottom line is we're looking at catchments in the Tukituki which are exceeding their DIN limits, and a lot of consents will be caught, or a lot of farms will be caught and need consent anyway because the catchment limit is exceeded, and the focus will be on working basically with those subcatchments, the farms in each of those subcatchments, to say individually and collectively what needs to be done to get improvement. And the plan's not asking for that to happen immediately. It's something that will progress, and I think we'll be looking at trying to say, well, what are you telling us you can do initially through your farm environment management plan, and through that process we'll be sort of saying, is that good, is that good practice, is that good enough, and how much is that going to improve things in the catchment. And I think we'll be looking at getting people to head in the right direction, and then set up some form of review which can pick up on improvements that we can bring through in time to step forward again. So I think it's going to be incremental. We'll try and sort of recognise that the numbers don't quite match, but we can sort of manage around that. And we're looking at a progression, not just a leap to change everything straight away.
So can I ask, from a user's point of view, to understand that, and I've just reread those recommendations, the user's point of view, who's got the farm plan, jumping through the various hoops as required, through no fault of their own, there's confusion. Everyone agrees with that. Of these options, which of those options helps that those stakeholders, the users at the end of the day, particularly in the Tukituki there, to get on, to carry on with, they're already abiding by the rules as prescribed. Which of the, or those recommendations that are given there, do they help that person as much as possible, hold them by the hands, because it's a regulatory problem. We're the regulators, as is Wellington. They're doing their best. So, there's going to be grumpiness all round. I'm trying to, can we look them in the eye and say, A, we've done all we can, B, we'll help you through this, this is the medium long term, and by the way, something will overtake this down the way anyway. It's just, we need to be able to, in 2 sentences, which I can't do, to explain, yeah, we're doing all we can for you in this space. This is not your fault, but you having to bear the brunt of it.
There's no perfect option in my view. We're coming in after the event to try and reduce leaching that's occurring in a catchment and take some regulatory role to direct farmers on what they could or should be doing.
But they accept that because they're going for a farm plan.
Farm plans will vary in terms of commitments that are being shown on those farm plans. I think we've got a wee way to go yet to sort of see that farmers are actually buying properly into preparing a farm plan, showing that will provide the necessary improvements. I think that farm plans are probably moving towards trying to pick up on good practice, but some of them, as we read them, they're not necessarily strong in their commitment to actually make the change. So I think there's still going to be an iteration on farm plans. They'll be reviewed and there'll be a bit more of it, because at the moment we haven't really seen farm plans. They've been prepared with guidance, but...
Okay, so you've answered my question. So Councillor Barker's made those recommendations, or moved them at least.
Yep.
I'm just looking for that confidence that we can look everyone in the eye and say we're doing all we can to help them as ratepayers and stakeholders of Hawke's Bay.
I need
With
to
the
actually
challenge.
put the
Let's put the motion and can we carry on
because
talking about it?
otherwise
after?
we're going to lose a quorum.
That's right. 'Cause with respect to Councillor Foss, yeah, that's off the topic of the motion and the paper actually.
Well,
It's related to it, but
It's
That's
on
not.
paper.
Can we put the
Anyway,
motion on
just
the
put it, Rick.
basis that we come back, because I want to ask a question of
sure.
Malcolm.
I want to be as helpful as I can.
Can we do that?
You
As
said
long as we're not
4:30?
closing the discussion out?
Yeah,
we
yeah.
can Put the motion?
So he's moved it.
He's
Rick's
moved it and it's been seconded.
Second.
been
All in
seconded.
favour?
Yep.
All in
You asking for that? Favour? Yeah.
Are you asking?
Yep,
Asking for, okay.
You both
Are you
moved?
asking?
yep,
I'm in favour.
yep.
Anyone again?
They're in favour. Thank you.
Is it
Yep.
carried? Got to say carried.
Carefully.
Thank you.
Now,
I still want to
because
discuss.
we're going to lose our quorum, people, we won't be able to do the decision on the Mohaka plan change. And I'm just mindful of the time, so I'm just wondering whether we adjourn.
I think we close the meeting.
Yeah.
and,
Sorry, Madam Chair, I was agreeing to put that motion on the basis that while Malcolm is here.
Yeah, we
Oh,
can
yeah.
still have a discussion, but we'll stop the meeting.
Yeah.
No,
because
I want to do it in the meeting.
well, the meeting can't continue because we haven't got quorum.
Well, we could.
Yeah.
We can
There's
have an
no
informal
quorum.
discussion though.
You can have a
Can have a cup of
discussion,
tea.
but there's no quorum for the meeting.
All right, close the meeting then. I want to have a discussion.
Because we are still streaming, but we've lost quorum, so
Yep.
just need to close the meeting.
So, Peter? Aye.
Well, I don't understand that. We've lost quorum, okay.
Join me in the karakia, Councillor Williams. Whakataka te hau ki te uru, whakataka te hau ki te tonga, kia mā kina ki uta, kia mā taratara ki tai, e hi ake ana te atakura, e teo, e huka, e hauhu, tihei, mauri ora. You notice I'm quickly going to the English version so I get it right. Cease the winds from the west, cease the winds from the south. Let the breezes blow over the land, and let the breeze blow over the ocean. Let the red-tipped dawn come with a sharpened ear, touch of frost, promise of a glorious day. Kia ora tata.
Kia ora. Thank you.